Hello, Warlords. Welcome to Saga Thursday. I'm your host, Rodge. Today we have an extremely special episode. We're joined by Alex Buchel. Is that how you would say it?
Yeah, you can tell it that way. It depends on each country. They tell it a different way, and I'm quite happy with any way of pronouncing it.
Okay, yeah, excellent. So you are the main man behind Saga, so it's a very special treat having you on. And you can see in the background there, we got some cool Saga banners.
A way to hide the mess in the office, actually.
Good call. Very conspicuous Age of Magic banner right there, I see. So we're going to talk about that a little later, but so we kind of been emailing back and forth, and we wanted to have you on when the Book of Battles is coming out. And it came out a lot sooner than I was thinking, and I think a lot of people are going to be pleased with that. So three major Saga releases in one, well, four, I guess, if you count the rule book, the Age of Vikings, Age of Crusades, and now the Book of Battles. So you guys are just pumping them out. It's totally awesome. You guys must be pretty busy over there.
Oh yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, definitely exhausted actually.
Uh-huh. So Studio Tomahawk, that's your full-time job?
No, we with my friend Fred, who is doing the layout. It's like a part-time job.
Okay.
When we started the company many years ago, we didn't want to make it a living actually, because as soon as you make it a living, you have to produce stuff.
Yeah, I imagine you gotta feed your kids and get food on the table. So
we want to keep our design freedom, and if a book takes much longer than expected, which happens almost all the time,
Oh yeah,
we don't struggle at the end of the month, or we don't rush to produce stuff just to bring money.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So yeah, it'll come out when it's good and ready, but it looks like you guys have laid the groundwork and have been able to release these books in quick succession, so that's really cool. So the Book of Battles is the latest release, I believe, November 12th, at least for Gripping Beast. They're going to be mailing them out. I've already got my pre-order in. And this is a supplement that has a great swath of scenarios for folks to play. So I guess, first off, I'm kind of curious why the scenarios got put into their own book, because previously they were in the different age supplements. You kind of put them into different books. Or could you just made the original book longer and just tacked them on there? I guess, what was your thoughts behind the Book of Battles?
When we started working on Saga 2, we wanted really to have a very cheap rulebook. So to make Saga available to everyone. If you're curious about Saga, you just pick the rulebook, take a look at it, and it's almost the price of a magazine or something like that. In UK it's 10 quid, which is, I don't know exactly how it comes in dollars, but I guess
$15.
Yeah, something like that. So, but it also meant that we had a threshold on the page count, so we had 56 pages. We thought we could include 3 or 4 scenarios, and in the end, as we want to take care that all rules are perfectly explained and we take enough space with examples and things like that, we only had space for one single scenario. Mm-hmm. Then the options were either put back the scenarios in the different universes book, or do a separate book for all universes with a lot of scenarios. And the idea was, if I got a great idea for a scenario for the Age of Crusades that could work for the Age of Vikings, Viking player would be unhappy, to not to be able to play it without buying another book.
Yeah.
Especially as we knew that the first 2 books would be 12 factions each, which is quite long already. So doing a scenario book that will bring universal scenarios that can be played in almost any settings, actually, is quite interesting from a gaming perspective, If you play Vikings, you can pick your scenarios you like. If you play Crusade, you can also buy this book of scenario just to play these scenarios. It doesn't mean that we won't include new scenarios, more specific themed scenarios in future universe books. But we wanted really to have a single book with scenarios for everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, the Crescent and Cross scenarios are perfectly viable with Vikings or Aetius and Arthur. So you don't want to give the impression that those are the only scenarios for those time periods. So that makes sense. So the book itself, you gave me a little sneak peek, is split into different sections. So we have the skirmishes with basically one scenario, the Battle of Heroes, which is like Clash of Warlords on steroids.
Yeah.
And then, which I really like. We'll get into that. But then otherwise we have battles, which are 10 competitive scenarios. There's a legendary battle section, which are more narrative type stuff where you need extra figures and you got to plan it out ahead of time and you decide with your opponent that you want to do that. And then there's a few scenarios for mass battles, which are the multiplayer games. And then we got a little taste of a little campaign at the end there. So I'd like to talk just a little bit about each one of these. So starting off with the Battle of Heroes, which I think is probably my favorite scenario after taking a look at everything, because with the battles and stuff, you might want to read it ahead of time and you decide which troops would work best for that scenario and set it all up. But for Battle of Heroes, one of the reasons I like SAGA, you can just show up, just set your stuff down and just get going.
Definitely.
So I think that's what that scenario is all about. And just the real quick way it works is there's 6 deployment methods, 6 terrain setup methods, 6 kind of victory conditions, special rules, stuff like that. And there's a little chart, so there's different variations. You can either dice it or you can get, there's different options. You can pick tactically how you want to do it, which is really cool. So, and then you're going to have these cards available, looks like on the website. Where people will be able to print them out and
at
make
the end
them.
of
So
November, when the book gets out, they will be available as a download.
Okay. So, these are really cool. I guess, was the idea for Clash of Warlords just beef it up a little bit more, maybe do stuff you weren't able to do originally?
Yeah, definitely. The idea behind the Battle of Heroes, Clash of Heroes, was to have basically what is a scenario generator for SAGA. So, if you want to just have a small battle between you and a friend and no preparation, anything, you just pick that scenario and you will be surprised by what happens actually, which is quite part of the funny thing. It's also a very useful tool for tournament organizers, because they can simply, if they don't want to write new scenarios or anything like that, just determine for each round of their tournament which way they want the scenario to be played, like deployment method 1, special rule number 3, and change it from round to rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, I don't know what it is about tournament organizers, but they always want to come up with their own scenarios.
Of course,
Having
we always have, queries about, can you bring us some specific tournament scenarios and things like that, And in the end, it ended like, the Clash of Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's very cool that exists. So I'm just curious, were any weird rules that were thrown out in the end? I mean, you have a list of 6 for each of those categories.
We had maybe 10 when we started for each one, and some were even too harmful for some warbands, or just too weird for players, know.
Can you think of a specific one, maybe a favorite one that didn't quite make the cut?
For example, the table was divided in 6 sections, and you had, when you wanted to deploy a unit, you had to roll on which section you had to deploy it.
Okay.
So you don't decide. Cool. You can decide where within that section you want to deploy your unit, but it was quite hard to make it work between the warbands with very big units, with the way the terrain was set up, etc. And some players actually hated it.
Well, now we know. Tournament organizer, you just explained it. So tournament organizer now, he knows everything. He can put that rule into his own tournament.
We had even a battle, a special rule where Actually, at the start of the battle, the warlord didn't show up. He was sleeping in his tent, like Achilles in Troy, and he came on the board at the start of the second turn only, in contact with his table H,
Mm-hmm.
And some quite a lot of players like to play the warlord. And Saga is a game about the warlord, so missing him at the start of the game was quite a bit, too much,
Cool, yeah. It sounds pretty fun trying to come up with the list and then kind of winnow it down.
But it doesn't mean that people cannot come up with their own ideas. And maybe one day we will have, Clash of Heroes second, they are back, with 6 other deployment methods, things like that,
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the first little part there, the skirmishes, and then we're gonna move on to the battles then. And so these are 10 scenarios and just kind of some retooling of some old favorites, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd have to say probably my favorite one, I think, after looking at them, is Old Feud, which has these rules for each warband can take an extra kind of a hero character. One of them's like a princess or like a strong man, and they kind of, I think there's maybe 5 or 6 of them. They have different stats, and you got to kill the other guy's hero and keep yours alive. But depending who you pick, you're going to play differently. And if you pick one, the other guy can't choose that one. He's got to choose a different one. But I think it's cool just to see these extra heroes and the fun rules, and it's just kind of fun having an excuse to paint up an extra model. What do you think is your favorite scenario out of that list? Do you have a favorite or one you're especially proud of?
No, there's a lot of scenarios, which
there's 10 of them. So,
and the main issue I got, I know the titles of the scenarios in French, but I can never remind them in English.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there is one that I really like on tactical point of view, which is the one with the river separating the warbands, and they must make their junction with a single bridge in the middle of the table.
Okay, that's the crossing.
Yeah, the crossing.
English,
which is called the junction in French, but it depends on translation and things like that. That one I really like it because tactically it's very interesting. Do you try to to go hard on the bridge, or do you try to go on the river at the risk of being caught in the middle of the river, which happened to me quite a couple of times, like my poor horseman caught in the middle of the river, and I think that one is really, really nice. The one with, I think the baggages, I like it quite a lot as well. The column of baggages coming in the middle.
Yeah, so this one, I think you're thinking of ambush, where there's 3 baggages that go in the middle, and then these poor guys, because there's 2 war bands coming on each side to sandwich them.
And you can actually model the baggages quite in a funny way, depending. We had columns of monks, running between Vikings and Welsh and things like that, which is always fun. That one is very interesting because there's quite a lot of tactical considerations for that one. Like quite a few of the battle scenario, you play it the first time, then to think, oh no, I wouldn't have done that way and things like that, because you attack the baggages, and basically when they are destroyed, they become objective markers that you carry with you. And so do you rush to destroy them at the risk of being caught by the enemy after you destroy the baggages? And some good tactics are actually to use other unit to shield the unit that is carrying the baggages, the loot, and get out of the table with that.
Yeah, so that's what I like about those competitive scenarios. It's not Battle Heroes is Saga. Kill the other guy, but these ones you got to pay attention to the victory conditions and kind of go after it. So there's 10 of those and plenty for folks to chew on. It'll keep us very, very busy. And I have to say, I think one that I thought would be in here, but maybe you just played by, but Battle Around the Campfire from Aetius and Arthur. I don't know, that seems to be like a fan favorite to me. Maybe I missed it, but it doesn't look like there's an updated version of that in this book. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. It's a brilliant scenario. I really, really love it. But it was already in the, Aetius and Arthur one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we kept it there. And we went for other things like, in the legends section of the book, you have actually a scenario about pillaging a village as well and things like that, And we didn't want to copy any existing scenario. We wanted to add new ones. That's why the one with the baggages is very different from the first scenario involving baggages in Saga and things like that,
Yes, extremely different.
Most players will easily adapt previous scenarios to the new rules, actually. They got all the tools in the Book of Battles when it comes to how to deal with terrain, etc., etc.
Okay, yep, that absolutely makes sense.
And at some point, we are likely to gather them all from out-of-print books and put them as a download, as a free download with updated rules and things like that. Just need to find the time between two books, actually, two real books, But something that I really want to do.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Okay, so we have the skirmishes, the battles, and then after that we have the legendary battles, which are more of a narrative type spin. So you mentioned there's baggage, there's some livestock in here, civilians. I have to say, I think my favorite here is the urban uprising scenario. So I've always imagined, just the kind of like a Byzantine table. There's a lot of city fight. Usually, if you're fighting in the city streets, probably the siege isn't going too well for you. But I always thought, would it work really well for Saga? How would it play out? So I think it's cool to see a specific scenario like that. If you're using, if you got 24 ground Viking houses, there's a great hall and stuff. I think that's really cool. So I think there's three or four scenarios here. One thing I saw, the rules for buildings are back.
Yeah.
And then it looks like there's been a change in stance on obstacles here. I believe they were for cowards in the first one, but I see they're back.
Yeah. No, definitely. We designed the Book of Battles to be actually as much a scenario book than just a toolbox for players to design their own scenarios. That's why we separated the special rules from each section of the book in their own chapter. So people can pick these rules to make their own scenarios. And obstacles are obviously for cowards, but we have civilians, and we don't blame them for hiding behind obstacles,
Yeah, so the rules for buildings and obstacles, they're in this legendary section. So the Battle for Heroes, that terrain chart, still doesn't have buildings and obstacles. They're not on it. So I think the intent is they're not going to be in that one. But for competitive scenarios, is the intent for buildings and obstacles to be used in those? I mean, obviously the players can do whatever they want, but I just noticed that these were in the legendary section. Do you think they're fine for?
They add another layer of complexity in the game,
Okay.
And for example, obstacles have always been really a nightmare to handle rules-wise, especially in the game, very strict when it comes to rules as Saga, So and I don't want tournament to be, handled with line of sight, crossing or not obstacles. We're looking for on each figure if your line of sight when shooting crosses an obstacle or not, and things like that. And we keep that for actually the legend scenario, which are more designed to be fun, where you don't really are not too much involved in the competitive aspect of the game,
Okay, yep, that absolutely makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. So we got a few good legendary battles, and then the mass battle. So it looks like there's 3 scenarios there. Wooden Oaths is back.
Yeah,
and then
it's my favorite scenario, so I had to include it into that one.
Yeah, absolutely. The looks like there's a team, kind of a team game, Brothers in Arms, and then Battle Royale.
Yeah,
is the
Battle Royale is really, really fun. It's really a slaughter mess,
Yeah, I think Saga is a good game for, some game systems completely break down if you try to go multiplayer, but that's not Saga. So, those are a lot of fun if you ever get the chance to do a multiplayer throwdown. So the last little bit here is we got a little light kind of campaign type system. Very, very, very light. The warlord kind of gets buffed up between games, and you can kind of connect scenarios and stuff like that. Obviously, the players can do that how they see fit. So just a few pages dedicated to this. So, I mean, that leads me to wonder, are we going to see a new campaign book at some point? Is that in the cards? Or I know we already have some campaign systems from version 1. Yeah. Obviously, players could retool those if they so desire. But is that in the works?
When we actually, the final stage of the Book of Battles was deciding what we would put into it. We have actually enough stuff maybe to fill a second book, but we wanted to keep the book quite thin, if you 60 pages still, but to keep the price tag low and available and easily, that wouldn't harm, the budget of the players. We wanted to keep the price quite low, and we had to decide what we could put into it. So maybe in the future, who knows, maybe a second volume. Yeah, and yes, we have a campaign, and a couple of ones actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got just a couple things you're working on in the meantime. I'm sure.
But I think the experience scenario is quite funny because a lot of players I've talked to are just two guys playing together, at home, without moving to tournament or things like that. They got a couple of warmans each and just play every week or every 2 weeks and things like that. And the experience system is quite easy to use in that, kind of games, And it's funny to see like a sense of evolution without any constraints of a proper campaign system. And that's what I liked with that, And a few friends of mine who have played it since 6 months is, quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I would say that, the way that Saga's great for just sitting down, just getting going, and then we have the Battle of Heroes. I think this seems like the campaign system to go along with that. It's like, we're not going to really think about it ahead of time necessarily, but, we're sitting down, we're going to play these games. Why not make these next 3 a campaign? We'll just throw this on top, and we can just quickly do that.
And you can also use it, as explained, you just give some experience points to the warlord before any regular game, and you pick up your skills. And that way you can personalize your own warlord for friendly games. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's pretty cool. If you just want to mix it up without having to go through everything. So, cool. So, that gave us the rundown of the Book of Battles. Thank you for taking the time to explain the decisions and the choices that you made with that. It makes sense that 60 page, just like the main rule book, is nice and cheap for players to pick up. Not necessarily hardcover like those big age books. So I believe that's coming out November 12th, I think I said, but in the that just dropped, and then in the meantime, we see at Crisis, we see the Age of Magic banner. I don't know if that is that the banner that was at Crisis that's behind you?
Exactly that one.
Okay, so that was completely unexpected, so that's awesome. So looks like folks were playing a game, looked like maybe some Chaos Dwarfs type fellows against some knightly foes. And there was a little write-up there, which I saw an English version. I'm not sure if that was there too, but it kind of looks like the way that you're going with that is making it completely customizable, somewhat to the different, any range of miniatures out there and every kind of fantasy type. So at the demo, it looked like there was ogres. There was like the knights had a trebuchet, a war machine, and there was like a big winged demon type guy that was like 20 feet tall, towering over everything. So, can you maybe go into that? You mentioned, I think, a couple of the archetype, I'm not sure how you say, the umbrella factions, or, could you mention those factions? I think you mentioned 6.
That
there would be 6.
Yeah. 6.
Can you say, I guess, what you want? At this point, you can either answer my question or not. It's up to you. Up to you.
So the 6
you talked about like undead. type. I think Undead was mentioned in there as well.
The Legends of the Undying, which is another faction as well. You got also the Overworld, which are anything from other dimensions,
Okay.
Like demons, angels, or anything, or even a cult worshipping these kind of things, This is the army the warband that was made of the Chaos Dwarfs was from the Overworld,
cool.
faction. You get, I think we mentioned in the description the Forces of the Wild, which are anything nature-based, from wood elves to beastmen to anything you might want to put into that. The Great Kingdoms, you have the Great Kingdoms, which are any huge, civilization made of human, elves, etc., etc. Think of your traditional fantasy empire or kingdom of men of defending, the borders against invaders and things like that. You have the undermountain folks, which is anything that live under the ground, from, of course, obviously dwarves, or even goblins and things like that. I think, between what we described and that one should make the 6. Forces of the Wild, the Overworld, the Horde, which are basically the nasty invaders, crushing barbarians or greenskins or things like that. The Great Kingdoms, the Undermountain Folks, and the last one I should have mentioned it.
Yeah, we got through all 6, but
and
I
the
can't
Legend
remember.
of the Undying.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Which are just the undead.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. The Horde speaks to me as purely evil or savage guys, but you point out that every one of those could be good guys or bad guys. So complete customizability there. So that's really cool. Are you guys pretty excited about this? Obviously, Saga has been a historical type game. I wouldn't say. There's more historical games than others, and I think Saga has a lot of fun things to it that will attract players like me. I came from fantasy and sci-fi games and stuff like that, so I think it's really cool that for me, but that I have another little tool in the arsenal to get people interested in Saga, because I think Saga is a game that once you play it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. I understand why this is fun now, and you might be able to get people into the other universes, but Saga's interesting. Also, do you have any grumblers about magic and stuff like that in Saga and not belonging in a historical game? I'm just curious. Obviously, people can play definitely. Historical stuff if they want.
That's why we developed Saga as a single rule book and then universe books, and we don't want what we like with universe books. Actually, yes, Saga, with the second edition, we put into light that Saga is a game about, heroic skirmishes. Big, nasty warlords rushing and crushing the enemies, with their followers and things like that. And that can be done in any other, quite a lot of settings, And let's face it, we put William the Bastard at the head of 30 poor guys, on the battlefield, which is absolutely silly. But we like that. We play with history. We do not play history. We play with history. It's an inspiration. We don't have any ambition of reproducing anything historical. We just play with history.
Absolutely,
like
I totally
some
agree.
Some movies, like some novels, like some comics, some music, or anything. It's just an inspiration and something we love, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, you can tell from your other games, and even though we're going into Magic, I think we'll be back to the historical stuff.
Of course,
as
and
well
even
for
if
those
you look,
folks.
If you take the Age of Magic, imagine you take your Vikings, you place them at the Horde. You had a couple of trolls and mythological beasts from the Viking Age, and you get almost something like it's between history and fantasy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kind of myths and stuff. Vikings fighting trolls and dwarves and everything like that.
That's why we decided not to have, factions like dwarves or elves or something like would, put a lot of constraints to the people. We just want to offer what are basically templates for faction, and you can put what you want. Use the figures you have and just collect maybe a concept or thing like that. If you want to play within the Game of Thrones universe, I guess you can. Of course, Lord of the Rings springs to mind, but there are plenty of other stuff you can play.
Absolutely. Saga would be perfect for Game of Thrones. By the way, so I'm going to ask you a few more questions about Age of Magic, and feel free to confirm or deny these as you see fit. So, Age of Magic, is there going to be like a magic system, like wizards and stuff like that? That's maybe, you could build it into the battle boards themselves, but you could also, a lot of games have like a separate magic system or magic rules or something like that.
There will be a magic system. There will be, mage, sorcerer, or wizard, or any named shamans, or basically the guy who speaks strange words and produces things, So there will be spells and things like that. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's really cool. So you talk about this customizable mechanic to kind of build these troops. So this will probably be my last question. Could you maybe give like one example, if you want, of like a troop type or something that's customizable? Like how do you, like if you have an ogre, how do you make them different?
Yeah.
Or what, is it just like weapon options?
No.
Kind of like what we have, or can you make them tougher or faster? Or if you want to speak to anything like that.
Age of Magic will introduce, as we said in the description we put on during Crisis, we'll introduce quite a lot of new rules because there are so many things to cover. Even if we want to keep it simple, there is a lot of things to cover, from flying units to monsters, creatures, and things like that. So, monsters, creatures, and others will be new troop types. For example, you have a new class of troops, which are monsters.
Nice.
Okay, a monster. I will let people, but basically it's a unit made of a single figure, a big monster. And you have different choices between monsters. There are 3 different types of monster. When you buy a monster for your warmon, when you master it, you must choose its type from, the big Titan, which is slow, very resilient, and things like that. You have this Scourge, where flying monsters that breathes something, might be fire, but that might be gas or anything. And you have the big ones crawling on the ground and crushing everybody. So you can choose and personalize your monster as well within these 3 kind of monsters.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Like
the way that you describe it.
So you will have, in Age of Magic, you will have levies, warriors, hearth guards, heroes, monsters, creatures, etc.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you for giving me those tidbits. That's a lot more than I thought we'd hear. But that's going to give, I guess, my last question. Release date, is that solid in the works?
Yeah, it's written just here.
2019.
At some point. No, I won't tell you when, because we might be late. It happened in the past. In the past, we were hunted down by some parties of warriors that were just crying and screaming. You said it will be out this month, and we stopped after hiding a few days in the wood. We decided not to announce it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it'll be done when it's done.
Next year.
Okay. Soon as possible.
And our plan is still to have 2 books for Saga per year released.
Oh, 2 books. Okay, cool. So that's going to be number 1, and then maybe
and something else. But I don't know which one exactly now. But it means that we cannot wait till December to release the Age of Magic. It will put too much pressure on the
Throw it off. Okay, good deal. And we can go back to the original version 2 teaser trailer, and that'll give you some ideas about what might be in the works, I'm sure. So, cool. Yeah, thank you for that description. And I will say in the Book of Battles, if people want some more info about the Age of Magic stuff, there are mentions about flying troops, I believe, and then the different kind of mounts and how they interact. So some of the, there are some little niblets there for people to read up about the new troops, perhaps, because obviously that book is going to be perfectly suitable for Age of Magic games as well.
Yeah.
So, awesome. So, I've got a few questions here at the end. We don't have a lot of time, but I was curious, what on a personal level, what armies do you own? Do you have?
I got a lot. Back in the days when we started Saga, I painted a lot of my warbands. And I collected quite a few for the playtest and things like that. After that, I went, in a designing book. I didn't have time to paint anymore. So I have friends painting figures for me. But I must have maybe 15 different warbands, yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be my follow-up question. Like, how do you have time to paint your models? But that makes sense. So, do you get a lot of? Are you kind of pick up games for fun, always play testing, or do you just ever unwind and just play for fun, without necessarily play testing in mind?
Oh, it's quite hard. I'm always play testing new stuff. I don't play that much with things that have been, released, because there is so much things ahead. If we want to keep up, the pace of releases, we have to play a lot with forthcoming stuff, And actually, when the players get the battle board in proper cardboard, it's when I stop playing with it, So I never play with a proper battle board, It's usually just things with tickers here and there and written stuff, and But I sometimes go to tournament. I really like to look at people playing Saga. I think it's fascinating, See how people react to the game. And there's so many different ways that people play the game, actually, from casual to really core tournament players and things like that. It's very, very interesting. And I love to look at people playing Saga.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously, Saga's got a wide range of the basement gamers to the people flying to events and everything in between. So that's cool. Do you play other miniature games? Or is it mostly for?
I really. It would be easy to say no. I'm too busy playing my own game, but it's very interesting to look at what other people do, because there are a lot of good ideas. I play a lot of board games. I play other miniature games when I got the opportunity and things like that. Yeah, quite a lot.
That's cool. Do you have a favorite faction for Saga?
It changes every month. So currently, I really love my Forces of the Wild. I'm playing a lot with the Forces of the Wild, and
getting some games in with those folks. So, are you using little counters and stuff, or do you have models for these guys?
No, we got models for everything.
Okay. Do you want to say what your Forces of the Wild are? Are they like dryads or tree men?
I really like the look of the, I'm really bad at remembering names, but Mantic Games has a range of, water beings, like Aquaman, something like that, half fish, half humans,
fish guys.
Humanoids with water elementals, and I really love them.
Cool.
So it's a wild ocean, actually. Playing.
Yeah, so that's a really good description. So when you think of wild, you think of the tree, typically stuff like that that I mentioned, but absolutely, any kind of natural force would work from that. So you really do have a free range of
that's exactly
there.
What we wanted with the faction. Maybe if you had this collection, you would say no, it's a horde, because they look like they're coming out from the ocean and paging the land, and you can play it as a horde as well. Nobody forces you to put your figures in that template. You get 6 different factions, templates, and it's the way you will interpret your faction, your warband that is more important.
Absolutely. So, do you get to go to a lot of, where are you at, Crisis? Do you spend a lot of your time at conventions and stuff like that? Or, yeah, I guess how,
we try,
how do you balance?
we try. Basically, when you go to a convention, it takes easily 3 days, and we still have a lot of work to do with Saga and our other products, So we try to do as much as we can, but not as much as we would love to. But we are coming to America next year.
Okay, I was just going to ask, for upcoming events that you know for sure you'll be at.
Yeah,
so...
I was discussing that with my mate Fred, and we were discussing about that to plan our trip to Adepticon.
Awesome, yeah, Adepticon, excellent, yeah. Number one Saga event in the U.S., in my opinion.
And would be good to, we really like to meet other players from other countries. We went to the German Grand Melee, to the UK Grand Melee, and US Grand Melee is a place to be.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Well, I'm going to be there. We'll definitely see you. I'm actually, I don't know if the stuff's been announced yet, but I'm running a SAGA THORSDAY event on Thursday there. So I'm helping out Eric and Monty and the other guys running some of the events there. So cool. I'm pumped. It's going to be cool to see you guys. So it's going to be yourself. Is this a Fred fellow coming too?
Yeah, the graphic designer and co-designer of the Book of Battles and the Age of Magic. Yeah.
Okay, cool. A little something exciting for our U.S. listeners. Just another reason for, if you don't need any more reasons, really to attend Adepticon. But I guess if you guys are coming, that just adds another one. So awesome. Well, that's about it for me. I kind of got a scoot here, but thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Rodge, for all your efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Labor of love, just getting the word out there about Saga, and I'm looking forward to Age of Magic. I got a lot of buddies who are into fantasy, sci-fi games and stuff, so this will be a great little gateway taste for them to get on the Saga train there. Are there going to be new dice for Age of Magic, or it look okay? Always need more dice, so.
Yeah. You will get likely 2 sets of dice, one for the good and one for the evil, and another smaller set of magic dice.
Awesome. Oh, cool.
Dice.
Oh, wow. Exciting.
Cannot tell more.
Okay, well, all right. Well, thank you, Alex. It's been a pleasure. And, well, we're definitely going to have to do it again.
For the Age of Magic.
Yeah, Age of Magic. Yeah.
So sneak peeks.
That sounds good to me. So that is it for this time, Warlords out there. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye. Saga!